When should a child get their first phone? It's a question dividing parents across the country, and on this episode of the MarshyCast, Olympic champion Greg Rutherford joins me to share his thoughts. We chat about a huge summer of athletics, his role as a pundit, and whether he ever gets tempted to tell today's athletes how it should be done. But we also tackle one of the biggest parenting debates around. What age is the right age for a child to own a phone? What happens if they're the last one in class without one? And if they do have a phone, how can parents keep them safe online? It's a fascinating conversation about sport, family life, and the challenges facing parents in the digital age. It's Paul Marsh, and I'm delighted to say that I've been joined by Olympic champion and fellow parent Greg Rutherford. Greg, how are you, sir?
I'm very well. How are you?
Really, really good. Of course, I know the weather doesn't always look like it, but we are right on the start of summer. It's a really exciting summer of sport. I know we don't have a lot of time, so I just want to very, very briefly touch on the fact that you got the Commonwealth Games starting in July and, of course, then European Athletics in August. You must be excited about this. Are you involved? Are you involved in broadcasting or any other bits and pieces?
I am for the European Championships, yeah. So I'll be broadcasting for the BBC. The BBC don't have the Commonwealth Games this time around, so won't be involved in that way. But very excited for it. Again, both the championships, I'm very fortunate to be able to say that I've won both of them in my career, and they're such hugely important championships, and it's going to be a great one. And with athletics, we've got the likes of Keely Hodgkinson, etc., which is going to be incredibly exciting to see. So I think it's going to be a brilliant one. And having them relatively close together can be challenging for some, but it just means that we're getting access to a lot of athletics over the summer, which is, in my opinion, I think everybody should have.
Well, the thing where you've got in common of being both an Olympic champion and a parent is when you get to go and broadcast at these events, you get to do the same thing as a parent does and goes, I've done it properly. That's not how you do it. Give it here. Let me do it.
I mean, again, the athletes nowadays are far more athletic than I think I probably ever was in any part of my career, to be totally honest. So from that point of view, I think I just sit in awe now of seeing what they can do. The memory of especially for my body, of putting it through what I did is far gone. I mean, the idea of getting up the stairs nowadays is difficult, let alone hurling myself into a sandpit. So it's something that I love, just being around, just watching, and again, taking in the incredible achievements and performances that the athletes put out there.
Let's talk about the film I mentioned earlier. Obviously, we're both parents to young children as they grow old. It is a very different world to what we grew up in. The main thing, of course, being mobile phones and the internet and social media and all of that. It is such a challenging time. When our children were growing up, we did the same thing that a lot of parents do before the children reach that age of, our children are not going to have a phone until they're 13, and they're not going to be able to do this, and they're not going to be able to do that. And then when our daughter was, I believe, 10, and in the last year of her junior school, I think she was the second to last child in her class to have a mobile phone. And the pressure then begins, doesn't it?
It really does, yeah. And I'm sort of here working with you to sort of show and help parents sort of navigate this really difficult time, because it is a difficult time. I'm somebody that with an 11-year-old, so you're clearly going through exactly the same at a different time, but I'm experiencing it right now. My eldest boy, he doesn't have a phone. He's not going to have a phone for a while yet, but his friends are having phones and they're having access to them. And that's opening a whole new world of online capabilities for them, something that I think myself and many other parents worry about. I think what we're finding as well, that kids are becoming so incredibly techie. They probably already know more than a lot of parents. And that is a concern. That's something that parents have voiced they are worried about. They're also concerned about the fact that screen time is becoming one of the biggest, if not the biggest, argument-based problems at home. These are causing fractious conversations because of the fact that kids are glued to screens a lot, and they're involved with them, and the world that opens for them. So I'm here to basically try and help parents with USwitch, with their Safer Screens tool, to give them an opportunity for the parents that do have phones, their children have phones, to understand that there are ways of understanding the safety features that come with it, the ways that they can actually make sure their children are safer. I'm a parent that's saying no at the moment to my child. At some point, he will have a phone, as will the others as they get older. But then it's understanding how to keep them as safe as you possibly can and make sure you mitigate as many of those really difficult potential situations that can come up with having a phone. I'm sure you've experienced it with your daughter now. And it's one of those things, when they do now have access to it, that world that it opens, and I've seen it firsthand with my son's friends. There's been some difficult situations for them because of groups, WhatsApp groups, or things they're seeing online. And I'm basically saying, for me, I'm trying to keep my eldest boy away from that as long as I possibly can. But for the parents that it's already there is tools out there now available, which can help you make sure that you keep them as safe as you possibly can.
I think the one thing that I would say to any parent listening whose child doesn't have a phone yet is, I would say, once that genie is out the bottle, it's very difficult to put it back in, as we are now finding out with, governments trying to ban social media for under 16s. Once you've given this to children, it's very, very difficult to take it away. So I would say it's one of those things, whether it's buying a phone, whether it's letting them having messenger apps such as WhatsApp and bits and pieces like that, or whether it is allowing them on social media. Once you open that door, it's very difficult to then 6 months, a year down the line, close that door.
Yeah, and look, I'm part of that generation where phones became a massive thing. Sort of in the late 90s into the early 2000s, it went from it being businessmen and city boys going around with these dirty grey bricks that you sort of thought, wow, what's this? Is sort of taking the corded phone from home around with you, now to every child one of it. I remember I had my first phone at 16. I sort of went to that, and that would have been back in, blimey, 2002 or whatever it would have been, maybe a bit earlier than that. And it's one of those things that I felt the pressures. I was one of the last children to have a phone, but equally, I functioned incredibly well until that point without one. I think we forget that there was a time where there was no such thing as phones around, and you don't have to push a 9-10-year-old or 11 or whatever to have a phone. There are ways around it. Now, again, I also appreciate some people also talk about the safety side of things, and I completely appreciate circumstances are different for different people. For me and my children, as it stands, it's something that they won't have access to. We're very much on top of where they are at all times. And I will try, as you say, not let the genie out the bag too early with them, because I can imagine it is for the parents that I've spoken to, and I know that have been around it, they say how difficult it is now. First of all, getting them off of the screen, but second of all, keeping them away from the opportunity of seeing either online things or being active. We had an issue, an anecdote from my son who was on the school bus. This was last year. One of the boys was getting picked on by some of the others from a different school. A school bus went to multiple schools. And it all started for a WhatsApp group on the phones. And they're sitting on the bus, then at school, and they're having nasty conversations. That's something that you don't need 10, 11-year-olds be having access. Nobody needs it, but especially too young. So I'm a big advocate for not having it. But for the children that do, that's not a judgment call at all. It's more about giving parents the tools in order to make sure that they can create as much safety as possible for them. As I say, the Safer Screens tool from USwitch is something that where it's a place where you can go. It makes it super simple. Whatever phone they might have, you can get the details there straight away, and you can put in position what you need in order to hopefully make you feel a bit better, but just mitigate any risks for your children.
I think it's funny, isn't it? Like, if you're booking a holiday, you would research the hell out of it before you did anything. And I think buying a phone for your child and creating that first contract for them is just as important as anything else like that. You really need to know what you're doing, who you're signing up with, what control you will have over their phone. Set out all of the rules and engagements first off. We've done the same thing. We've got tools on our phone, which is linked to our daughter's phone, about the amount of screen time she can have during the week. It goes off while she's at school, the apps that she can and can't have, all of these things. You need to set them out early. And if you can do as much research as possible, that can only be a good thing. Yeah,
absolutely. And so what we are finding is that parents are thinking that well, I don't genuinely understand what's going on. Some of the apps and some of the processes that are out there now, which are available through phones. So having tools in place to know that you can sort of skate around that a little bit and actually feel safer. I think it is a huge thing. Again, I look at my kids now. They might use a laptop at home for certain things, or they might go on, one of them uses his phone to be able to look something up quickly. But the way and the speed that they learn things, that's what terrifies me as well, to be totally honest. Like they can already navigate these things. I mean, even things like my 5-year-old daughter's now learned how to work the TV remote. And I'm sort of thinking, how has she learned that? Now, her brothers have clearly sat her down and shown her how to do that. I think at her age, I don't think we had a TV remote, to be totally honest. One of those households where it had been lost many moons before, and you have to just press one of the buttons on the front of the TV. But it does show that when they do have access to it, how quickly they can pick up certain things. And I think that can put you in a situation where they can then gain access to certain things that we really don't want them to have. And equally leaves them open to other people, but be that, as I say, via WhatsApp, etc. Having scenarios which just not nice for them.
So if people want to find out a little bit more about the new Safer Screens tool with USwitch, where would be the best place to do that?
Yeah, go to the USwitch website. I'll be putting some bits up on socials as well, and you can navigate through. And as I say, it's a tool that for the parents, that the children already have phones, you can really narrow it, rather than having to go and watch hours of YouTube and working things out yourself. Put in the phone, the brand, same with your broadband provider as well, and you can work out these new safety features and tools through it. So head to the website and check it out.
Well, look, Greg, it's been amazing talking to you. Thank you so much for talking to me. Enjoy your summer, and I'm sure we'll catch up again soon.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Thank you so much.